I have no idea where that's coming from. It has taken me a few minutes to come over, to get up the courage to come over here to get my camera off the desk. It sounds like it's coming from right over here. It's sitting right here. Definitely gets quieter over here. Same thing here. It's almost like it's coming from this spot on the couch. Weird shit, it is freaking me the hell out. I don't know why the footstep thing didn't freak me out, but this shit is unreal. It was just too much. It sounded like it moved. Yeah, it's quieter. I don't like that either. I've got chills. Goosebumps, I mean. At all. Yeah. I'm opening that shit. I told myself I wasn't going to investigate this kind of stuff. Ears ringing, that was so fucking loud. Oh my god. to investigate. Clearly no strings. Someone's screwing with me. Like I don't even know where to move in my own house. Okay. What's this here? Is there someone in here messing with me? I'll show you guys too. Let's see down there. Pushing light. Here. My camera battery is almost dead after I just put it in. It's a little warm too. There's no one here. It's a good thing I take anxiety medication already. Shit is getting way too weird around here for me. I mean, I probably just need to adjust, but Jesus. I didn't notice this whisper at the time it happened, so I don't know if it was a true EVP or if it was just too quiet for me to notice at the time. It would still be a few days before I reviewed this footage. However, the events of the next day would reveal just how serious the paranormal can be. Everything started out as a normal day, got ready for work, made the 25-mile drive that I always make, and then at the end of my shift, I walked out to my car, I got in, tried to start it, and the fuel injector manifold exploded. So while a coworker ran in to get a fire extinguisher, I snapped these pictures. Most of the splattered gas had burned off by this time, so that's why the fire is kind of small. I haven't told anyone at work about these events in this video that led up to this. I mean, what would I even say? That a ghost is trying to kill me? So it's been about a month since I finished recording that video, and I still haven't gotten around to editing it. Every day when I leave for work, I'm worried that something's gonna happen at home with my family, and on my way home, I'm worried that something's gonna happen, and things have happened since then. And I've got some of that on video, but some of it I just left the house because I couldn't deal with it. For those of you who have experienced this kind of stuff, you probably already know there is this almost unnatural level of fear that comes over you with it. And it's almost like I get the impression that that's artificially induced, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't know, I'm working out some ideas in my mind that might explain some of this a little bit, maybe. Because I'm not really, as I've said before, I'm not really sold on the idea that spiritual stuff is a good explanation. But with the fear stuff, I get the impression that it's almost like some kind of artificial mechanism that is supposed to drive you away from that area. I've seen videos all the time of people saying they were too scared to go on, and watching the videos, it doesn't look that scary at all. But I get it now. I really do. I'm still not sure about that voice toward the end. I've only reviewed the footage once or twice, I think, and I hadn't reviewed it at all by the time the mess with my car happened. And it just seems very suspicious that it could be, coincidence. And I mean, it could be, but I don't know. I don't know what to do about it. I want to continue investigating it, but I've got to push through this bizarre level of fear that I mean, some things are like jump scares, like the screaming at me would have scared me regardless. But there was something much more to that fear that just doesn't seem natural. Yeah, it's hard to explain. I want to be able to push through that and investigate whatever I can, but I don't know. It's really intense, a lot more than I ever expected. I expected at most for it to be scary, like almost getting in a car wreck or I don't know, something like that. And it's not. It's in a whole league of its own. And one thing that also kind of might have been a precursor to this that I didn't pick up on was my wife and I had done another spirit box session with that toy that was being really weird, and I didn't think I really caught anything of value at the time, so I deleted it. I know that's a totally amateur mistake. You don't delete footage until you've reviewed it, and you hang on to it anyway in case it becomes obvious later. But in that session, there was... The only thing that really sticks out to me is, one, my camera was... Or my gimbal was being really weird. It just was making lots of weird noises, and it hadn't been touched, or the balance hadn't been changed. So that went away. And then the main thing that sticks out though is that little spirit box app. I've never seen all the bars on that go red, but it did once, and it said get away or keep away or something like that. I can't quite remember. And it's almost, in retrospect, it's almost like it was a warning, but at the time it's like that's kind of, generic cliche ghost stuff, right? It might not have been. It might have been legit. It might have been coincidence. And I'm not gonna know until if I ever... I don't know how to word it. I guess I'm never going to know until I get a lot more information, because I'm not going to know the full scope of what's going on. But I want to keep investigating, and I've got other videos I need to edit as well, and going through that stuff so meticulously is like reliving the incident, but at the same time you don't have that intense fear, you just have the memory of it, and so it's kind of like comparable to a traumatic trigger or something, maybe. I don't know, but I've been through worse trauma, so I should be able to push through this. It's new and it's scary, and I don't know if you guys noticed, got a new lav mic, which I probably just tapped really hard. I'm hoping to use this more when I'm behind the camera, but that's gonna be pretty situational, because when stuff happens, it happens. But surely you guys can hear me a lot better with this than being behind my main camera. This is my phone right now. You probably guessed that, since I'm in a car. By now it's been almost 9 months since this happened, and I've had time to collect my thoughts a bit. One of my leading theories right now is that this could have been an example of a so-called residual haunting. A residual haunting isn't a haunting in the traditional sense of the word, where you've got like a spirit occupying some location. Instead, for unknown reasons, a past event plays out either in the present, either in part or in whole. This actually would not be the first time I've possibly witnessed this phenomenon. That's a short story I've shared on Reddit before, and that ended up being picked up by Paranormal M with my permission, and I'll put a link in the description to that story. I intended to share it here on my channel sometime in the future, along with some other stories that happened when I was very young. But for now, you can use that link. So initially I wasn't sure if a residual haunting could be a viable explanation. Considering the sequence of audio doesn't seem to portray any apparent event. However, what blew my mind was what happens if you reverse the sequence of the sounds. First, you have a disembodied voice that whispers, "You're going to die." Now, what if this isn't some whisper, but it's some kind of acoustic reflection from a sound outside the house that didn't actually play out in our timeline? Next, there's that aggressive knock at the door, and then shortly after this, a woman screams, seemingly in terror. The sound of her voice quickly leaves the room, and for the remainder of the time, she is crying, seemingly from a consistent location. With this order of events, you can kind of piece together a possible storyline. It seems like an intruder broke into her house, scared the absolute shit out of her, and then held her against her will. Me staring right where I was when she screamed could have been an unfortunate and terrifying coincidence. This doesn't, however, explain the rocking chair or the suddenly moved dress form, or maybe it wasn't a residual haunting. What if this works both ways? What if she saw or heard me and that's what terrified her? What if from her perspective, I'm the ghost? I'm trying to start forming a few new hypotheses. For example, what if there are multiple timelines? I'm not talking about like different branches of the same timeline, like they used to explain paradoxes of time travel in movies or something. But I mean like completely separate timelines that just have always been separate. What if these timelines, rather than being perfectly straight, as they are often depicted, sort of curve around a bit as time moves forward? Perhaps this causes our timelines to occasionally overlap, giving us brief and incomplete glimpses into other realities. Or instead of that, what if time produces some sort of temporal harmonic resonance that can intersect back into our own timeline or another timeline, and vice versa? Sort of like waves in the water as boats pass through them. If there are, in fact, multiple timelines that produce resonance, that might explain why the events that happened that night seem to be disordered, with the resonance sort of curling backwards as it intersected with our timeline. Either way, I have questions about who this woman was and why she was so afraid. There is no violent history at this property to support any kind of ghost story, as is commonly the case in these situations. And that's actually one of the several reasons why I don't think supernatural explanations are a good fit. So if my timeline speculation is correct, what if this woman is my wife in an alternate timeline? What if the person she's so afraid of in this timeline is me? Maybe in this other timeline I'm abusive or narcissistic or something. Considering that my wife and I share vehicles, perhaps in this alternate timeline I tried to sabotage the car to kill her, and some kind of temporal harmonic interference caused it to happen in our timeline instead. Maybe the whisper in the recording was alternate timeline me whispering to myself, planning to carry this deed out. Obviously, this is all just complete wild speculation, and I could go on and on with other possibilities. You know, there's still parts of this night that don't fit into either of these explanations, as I mentioned. So for now, all I can really do is keep recording the events and hope that some good evidence comes along.